Hey, plant people, what is up? Happy Thanksgiving, or happy day after Thanksgiving slash Black Friday, because this video should be up either Thanksgiving or Black Friday. We will see how things go. Again, as always, I apologize for the fluctuating lighting because every single time I record, it's like a, a blue sky with big fluffy clouds that are just enough to really noticeably cycle between extremely bright light and cloudy filtered light. So we are rolling with it as always. I think normally it turns out okay, but if your eyes are like, what the heck is going on, that's what it is. So I feel like doing a fall favorites today. I do not remember what the last month was that I did a monthly favorites video, and I'm probably not going to do another favorites video until the end. Well, I guess that would be next month, wouldn't it? Because it's November. The end of the year favorites video would be the next one. So this is I guess this, I mean, it's like November favorites and December favorites, right? Like that's what we're doing. But we're going to call it fall faves because I don't think that I have done a favorites video in a month or two. This is the first time that I felt like recording in a moment because we lost one of our dogs recently. Stark, our senior dachshund mix, who I've had for 14 years, passed, and it was both unexpected and expected because he had to be at least 15 or 16 because I had him for 14 years and he was 1 or 2 when I got him. And this has been my first like pet loss as an adult where this is like my baby, you know. So it's been understandably very difficult. And it either feels not real at all or way too real. And I would say for the most part, I'm okay. It's just when it kind of hits you that they're gone, that's when the waves of emotion start rolling in. And I know it was the best decision. It's not like any kind of regret or anything like that because he was, like I said, it was expected and unexpected because he was getting old and his health was just deteriorating really quickly. So it's like I saw it coming, but when the time comes to actually say goodbye, it doesn't feel real most of the time, I feel like. So it's one of those things that just needs time to kind of, for me to mentally wrap my mind around because I'm so used to him being here, you know? So we've also had like a lot of other changes going on in the background. The largest of which is just getting adjusted to having the plant shop now, which thank you so much to everyone that has placed orders and has sent me messages and just been super supportive and nice. It has been so much fun. I have really been having so much fun just kind of like interacting with people and like packaging things up and like seeing the final product come together and stuff. And everyone's just been super nice as always. I feel like that's kind of like the norm in the plant community that I have had experience with at least. So just thank you so much to everybody out there and also everyone who watches these videos and likes and subscribes. Every little thing is helpful and matters. But anywho, this is going to kind of be like 2 phases in this video. So the first phase is going to be non-Anthurium favorites, which is going to be out here in my main plant space. And then we're going to be going into my office where I have my grow tent and I will give you some Anthurium faves and updates and a couple of new plants that are in there. I feel like if I do it this way, I won't do all Anthurium because Anthurium are still like my obsession, you know? So just to keep things fresh and different and to make sure I don't exclude all of my other plants, we're gonna be starting with those here and then we will move on to Anthurium. Numero uno is my Aglaonema spilt milk. And this was a plant that I literally just got as an add-on because I liked the variegation. I had no inkling of getting this plant prior to when I got it. Like I didn't even know that it existed. But when I got my Dieffenbachia Big Ben, the seller was offering this for a really good price and I really liked it. So I got it and here we are today. I think I mentioned this in my plant tour video, but I recently chopped, you can kind of see maybe in here the bases because it was doing the Aglaonema thing where it gets really tall and it loses all its lower leaves. So it's like a little Dracaena looking guy with like a really long stem and just a few leaves out of the top like a palm tree. And that, honestly, it didn't look terrible. It really didn't look terrible. But I was like, this is the opportunity for me to cut it back and plant the props up together to make a more full plant here which is what I did. And I just recently put the props back in here, which is this one right here. And I think this one, this little leaf right here. And all of the growth point, I think all of the little nubs in there have sprouted 2 growth points. So she's getting pretty bushy, and I think she's going to look really good once they kind of get a little bit more established and start rooting out. But this is the most beautiful aglaonema. Aglaonema tend to be pretty easy. I would say as long as you give this one adequate light, it has been pretty easy for me too. So don't overwater, give it adequate light, and it's been doing just fine. Has really gorgeous green foliage, but the variegation is obviously what makes it super special. And I like that you get so many variants of variegation. So you have kind of like this greeny green splash, and then you get some white and a little bit of that minty color, and just a lot of variety in the variegation on the leaves. It's just so pretty. I think this one is going to be such a stunner when she starts growing out, because, man, the variegation on this guy is just really, really, really gorgeous variegation. The next one I have is a caladium, and I think all of the caladium that I have in my collection, including this one, are, except for maybe 1 or 2, are just complex Thai hybrids. They don't, to my knowledge, I'm no expert, but to my knowledge, they don't have like a species name or a like specific variety. It's just a Thai complex hybrid caladium. This one, this is my favorite leaf right here. Look at this. These are so unbelievable. Like the coloration on these Thai caladiums is just, yeah, it's just unbelievable. I love how it has like the red with these really, really dark purple veins. And then at the very top, you see those little white lobes. Look at that. How cute is that? Those cutie little white lobes. And it's funny because I feel like a lot of these are kind of, maybe not necessarily one of a kind, but you really never know what you're getting. It's like Anthurium seedlings. Like you're just going to get some kind of like crazy variety that has some kind of traits from the parents, but not necessarily the same across the entire cross. But yeah, I just love the length of these, and then the red, the veins, the little white lobes. She's so gorgeous. It also has like some green in the younger leaves, which is kind of interesting. You can't really see it super well, but it's kind of like around the edges. And then the backs of the leaves, you can still see that really dramatic purple veination. This leaf has a little bit of that green tinge to it. But yeah, I just cannot go on enough about these. Just nothing else looks like this. This is like definitely some kind of alien, otherworldly. And then I'm right next to a couple of my other varieties, so I'll just give y'all a little peek. So again, just the coloration. Gorge. This little guy is recovering from spider mites and dying back, but those new leaves are so pretty. I've mentioned this before too. They're not as thin as a lot of the caladium varieties you'll see here in the United States, like if you go into Home Depot or a big box store or something like that, and they have like kind of the typical caladium varieties, those always just kind of weird me out because they feel so thin, like the leaves feel so thin. And these are not like that. These definitely have more of a leathery, like a thicker leathery feel to them. Okay, this is a new one that I've not talked about yet. This is my Hoya Serpens Silver. I know. Who is she? Who is she with the small leafed Hoya? Because I'm a big leaf crusty Hoya girl, and this is totally out of my norm. But man, I think I've had a turnaround with the small leaf, these kind of like buttony, cutesy Hoya, because it's just so dainty. It gives fairy garden. It gives whimsical. It's so cute. And it hasn't been too bad for me. I have it just on my Vitso shelf, like right behind me. And I have a humidifier up top, so it gets really good humidity and moderate lighting. And it is starting to put out some growth points. When I first got it, the growth points on the end of the branches did die off, but it is shooting out some new little bits of growth. So I think she's going to start growing again before too long. And then this one kind of fits that same vibe. This is my Dischidia lancifolia, and this is very Hoya-esque. Dischidia, I think Dischidia and Hoya are kind of like cousins, but this one gave me so much trouble when I first got it. It was literally impossible for me to grow. It was a two-leaf wonder for probably a year, and then just out of nowhere, it started growing. But I didn't want to give up on it because I love this. I love this. The look, that vein down the middle. Oh my gosh, yeah, so pretty. But she just randomly started growing eventually. And she had a tendril out that had several leaves on it. I cut them off, just stuck them back in the soil to see if I could propagate them that way. Because, you know, you never know until you try. And I prefer to soil propagate when I can because it's just so much easier than having like a million containers of propagations everywhere, which drives me insane. But we have two that took, I believe two that took. So we have several little growth points going on here. We have this one, we have this one, we have this little long curly Q coming out of the top. But yeah, just love the green, the veins. So gorge. Okay, I've just got two more out here. We're not gonna go on for too long. And this is the first one. So this is some Philodendron Hederaceum variety. Do not eat that. Do not eat that. This is some kind of Philodendron Hederaceum variety, and it doesn't look like the Brazil or the Rio or anything to me. I have heard talk that there is a variety known as, are you coming to say hello? Can I help you? You have fish breath. I've heard people talking about a variety called the Carnival, which is out and about. And I got this off clearance at Lowe's for $7. And I just thought it was pretty because I had a Brazil upstairs in my husband's office, but it was growing just like bananas. And I rotted the majority of the roots because I was kind of letting it sit in water because it was up on a shelf. And I was like, I'm not climbing all the way up on that shelf and pulling down this 75 feet of philodendron. What are you doing? I'm not pulling down all of this length of philodendron that just leaves and vines going everywhere to water it through correctly. So it was just sitting in water and it was smelly and its roots were, I didn't really look into it too deeply. I just took some propagations and had them in moss. And while they were rooting, they looked like poopy. So when I saw this on sale for $7, I was like, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to toss those cuttings that are just kind of like withering away. And this is going to be my replacement plant. And I have no idea what the Carnival looks like. I have only heard the name. And to me, this sounds like maybe that's what it is, just based on literally nothing other than the name. Yeah, I don't know what this is. I'm sure somebody out there knows what this is. So if you are sure of the variety of this and you want to let me know, I would much appreciate it. But this has got much better variegation than my Brazil did. And it looks way different. Like it takes up the majority of the leaf. Yeah, and this one just looks different than any that I have seen in the big box store before. So I was like, when I saw it on clearance, I was like, okay, yes, that sounds like a good deal to me for $7. And yeah, she's growing great. Okay, the next one is really weird, and I understand. I understand if you don't understand why this is in my favorites. It is an orchid. I do not know what this is. This was another Lowe's clearance find. The only thing that I can find that is somewhat similar to this is a Cymbidium. Is that correct? Orchid. And that is the one that I could find that had the narrowest leaves like this. But even the photos that I see online are not, like these are so much narrower than the photos that I see online. So I need orchid people, I need your help because I would love to know yay or nay on the Cymbidium. Because another thing that's weird is these like pseudobulbs, is that what these are? They're growing like up. Like you see this? Like what's going on like this? Is this just stretching for light? Because it wasn't getting much light at Lowe's, but like you see it's growing another pseudobulb up here, right in there. So it's just strange to me, like this was atypical from the other ones that I had seen online, because the ones that I'd seen online, the pseudobulbs were like this, where they were all planted into the substrate, and they weren't like growing up the stalks like this. So that is a little confusing to me. I have no idea what the flowers on this look like because it did not have flowers. But I just love, okay, listen, I know this looks like grass. I know it looks like grass, but it looks so cool. I don't know what to tell you. I just think this looks so cool sitting on the shelf with its little skinny long leaves floating all over the place. She is so cute. And it's a much different leaf shape, texture, sheen, feel than any of the other plants that I have over there on the shelf. So it just gives it a little more life. You know, I like it when there's a variety of different leaf shapes and textures. And I feel like if you like the philodendron tortum, this kind of gives that same vibe. It also came in this pot, which is super cutesy. And again, I think this was like $10 or something. So like $10. Look at this. And these little pseudobulbs have plumped up so much. They were little, so shriveled and like crusty when I got them. And it was so cute watching them kind of like plump up over time. So yeah, could not love her more. We'll update when she blooms so that we will all together know what that looks like if you're interested in orchid things. But yeah, 10 of 10 would recommend if you find it on clearance for $10 and are like me and like this weird wispy grass look. Okay, that is it for out here. I am going to relocate into my office where the grow tent is now so we can look at some anthurium things. And I have got to figure out what we're going to do about the lighting in there because it is so dark and it's going to look, I don't know. I'm going to figure it out. And I'll see you in a minute. Oh, goodness, he's being neglected. Yeah, mommy's ignoring him. Okay, I actually think the lighting might be better in here than the fluctuating lighting from the clouds in the natural light in the living room. So, okay, cool. I forgot to mention my #1 favorite plant of the month, of the end of the year, which is on brand, which is my Norfolk Island pine. I cannot believe that I forgot to mention that. I'm going to insert a photo on the screen just because I don't want to pull it out because it's kind of big, but cannot recommend these enough. They are so pretty. Foliage is so pretty. They are so soft and lush and Christmassy when tis the season, the time of year for that. So yeah, I have her decorated right now and she is wonderful. 10 out of 10, do recommend. I swear to you, every single time I go to record a video, I'm fairly good about not knocking plants over, but every time I try to record a video, I knock something over, and I just knocked it over the tent, which is a pain in the butt. But anyways, we're going to start with 2 new plants that I have not talked about yet. These are collector's plants. So just keep in mind, I'm just going to mention them really quickly because I am fully 100% in love with them. They are on the higher end as far as cost goes. However, I am buying them for business purposes for my shop. I'm going to be doing like propagations, offsets, things like that, and maybe breeding them. I feel like maybe one of these, the first one I'm going to show you, is sterile. I don't know for sure. I don't see a lot of hybrids with either of these, but we're going to give it a shot. You know, nature does some wacky things sometimes. So the first one is my Anthurium rhodolantii. This is insane. And the lighting is not good enough. Hold on. Okay, excuse me being overexposed. I just want you to be able to see the texture on this plant, but it is absolutely insane. Very elongated, kind of on the narrower side. And it's one of the pebbly leaved varieties. So very velvety, very textured. Crazy. Looks like a very alligatory, you know, gives the crocodile vibe. And this is the one, like I said, I think this could be considered sterile. So this may just be something that I'm selling like offsets and stuff of eventually. But we'll see. You know, like I said, you never know for sure until you try. It is rooting super well. Like I've not had any issues from this plant. I got this from Scott Cohen. And I do believe this has an offset, like an active offset that it's trying to produce leaves from. When it shipped, the new leaf on the offset did die off, but the growth point is still there and it hasn't died all the way back yet. So I'm thinking that will probably produce another leaf before too long, and it flowers like crazy. Been pushing out flowers from every single leaf, even though I've not had it for very long and it went through shipping and I had to repot it and all of that. But yeah, honestly, it's been super easy so far, and I cannot wait for that offset to potentially continue growing so that I can offer that in the shop before too long. Next one up, this is probably my all-time favorite plant right now. This is the Anthurium SP Nova Panama, and I have been on the lookout for this for a hot minute. They are not the easiest to find. I feel like a lot of the bigger sellers do often have them. I know Paul Marcellini at Understory Oasis has some because I sent him an email before I happened upon this one, which I ended up getting from Scott. But I know he had a couple of propagations. If you're in the United States and you're interested in this variety, I would just send him an email through his website because he definitely had a couple of these that he was going to be offering before too long based on what he was telling me. And then Scott Cohen does have these sometimes available as well. That's where I got mine from. And he offers these on PALMSTREET, which is where I picked this one up. And then also I saw, I think the Homebody or someone was at Silver Chrome Gardens like during a live, and they had one available as well. So you can find them from like the bigger growers. They are, like I said, fairly expensive when it comes to like kind of like your typical Anthurium. But I'm just absolutely 100% enamored with this one. Just the leaf shape, the texture. Do keep in mind that this one has been through shipping, so it is a little, like she's yellowing just a little bit, but she's rooting very well. You can see all of her little new roots popping out in here. And she looks to be giving me a new leaf before too long. And these have the most incredible purple veins on their emergence. And it's funny because I saw one photo of it somewhere and I can't remember where I saw it. And then it's really hard to find images of this plant specifically with those really purple veins for some reason. I wonder where, I wish I could find that picture so that I could put it on the screen. But yeah, I will definitely be taking some photos of the new leaves when they come out on this one. Do keep in mind also, I am growing in a tent now, which you see in the background. So humidity is like at 90 to 95% in there. So I have no idea how these would do in ambient conditions. Probably not super well, at least for the first two that I showed you, because I think those are a couple of the varieties that really do need higher humidity. So I'll probably not recommend those if you are growing in ambient and your humidity is like below 80%. They're probably not going to like that. This next one is one that I initially had no interest in. I had ordered something from Brendan at Buzz Plants, and he sent me a message and said that like one of the leaves or something was damaged on there. So he was going to send me one of these as a freebie because I think these were like not a super popular cross, even though they're so cool, but it's just not something that I guess like a lot of people are initially interested in, including myself. Ooh, I keep hitting my mic, including myself. And it's funny because I'm super into right now, like the concept of hybridizing with velvet, like Carla, Dresslery, Baby Vep, whatever, with non-velvet Anthurium. And that's what this is. So this is a stripy cross with, I do not know the name. I'll put it on the screen with all of these, but I think it's like Eustapuence or something. And this was the largest leaf when it came to me. Look at that veination. And the shine. And this was the first leaf that it put out in my care. So it's getting this really cool, like minimal sinus, minimal lobes. It just has like little heart-shaped lobes there at the top. And the texture on this, man, that looks crazy. It looks almost like, look, it looks like Luxurians was part of this hybrid like several generations ago where it's kind of minimal. There you go, you can see it more here, but like just the texture is so cool. And the veins, especially there like right in the sinus, man, this thing is crazy. And it's so dark. It's such like a pretty dark green color. And the veins are kind of yellow, kind of like a yellowy neon green with pink in the very sinus. Absolutely gorgeous. He still has these. I'm pretty sure he has these on his website if you're interested. Like I said, I don't think as many people have been buying these because like on lives and stuff and in the purges, I don't see these go really quickly, but very underrated. This thing is incredible. Like, do you see this? Amazing. This one, this is a really pretty emergent for you. If you know me, you know I like anything that is textured. So anything that is, I think it's debile. I keep wanting to call it debile because that's just what is in my brain. But I'm pretty sure it's debile is the name of the plant, Anthurium debile. But I also love like Cunulense or Splendidum or anything like that. Anything corrugated. Love all of those. So this one is a Carla PM3 crossed with Carla debile. And this was originally from Paul Marcellini at Understory Oasis. However, I did purchase this from Rooted Rarities over on Palm Street. And these were the initial leaves. You can't see super well the texture. It's not super prominent. It's more subtle. Y'all, I'm telling you, this thing just fell out of its little tray. I should have been holding on to the freaking pot, not the tray, but here we are. Fortunately, this emergent was not damaged because I would have fully crashed out if it was. However, yeah, gorgeous. Still gorgeous. Pink, pink, pink. You can see a little bit of the texture. Really pretty. Lighting again in here is not super great. Like, I wish they look very dark and attractive in this lighting, but you just can't see, you can't see the details as much. Anyways, this is the new leaf. So this emergent, very pink. It has very, very pinky veins. So that comes from the Carla. But you can see that texture on there a little bit. She is so pretty. This is the first leaf in my care. She has been like a little bit slow to get started. But it definitely looks like this is going to be a size jump here. And her roots look pretty good. Pretty good in the pot before I just let her fall over. So hopefully that will not upset her too much. I don't think the roots really came out much, so it should be okay. But yeah, just beautiful. She's beautiful. I already feel myself being a problem because I want to talk about every single plant that I'm looking at in there. Okay, this one is a somewhat sad story. This is my Carla RA crossed with Round GPH. This is from Brendan at Buzz Plants. And I rotted this one. I have been having an issue where my previous mix that I had like perfected, I'd spent so much time perfecting this, included a lot of sphagnum moss when I was growing in ambient, and it worked literally perfect for ambient. However, when you move into ultra high humidity, a lot of sphagnum moss ends up retaining water too much. So we're back on the root rot train over here. However, things are doing just fine. Like, the thing about Anthurium are they're very resilient. As long as the chonk is okay, they can rot all of their roots. Just put them in sphagnum moss and they will, I would say like 98% of the time, regrow their roots. And this is from personal experience because I've rotted probably every plant in my collection at least once. At least once. And this is no exception. However, you can see, like, I literally just put her in sphagnum moss and she has already got new roots forming, so she's doing just fine. However, these were the leaves that she came with. Very beautiful. But this was her newest leaf. Like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Look at those veins. This is a stunner. When I saw that root rot, I was like, oh my god. Here we go. I'm not losing this plant. But fortunately, she is very vigorous. That is the thing about like both like Brendan and Grant's plants, I find are quite vigorous. Like, they re-root pretty easily when you're someone like me and likes to root rot everything occasionally. Next up, this is a newer one that I have not talked about yet. This is Anthurium. This is crossed was originally by Steve's Leaves, and this is Chuck Norris crossed with Arnold Schwarzenegger, which are two of their variegated plants. And I just thought the variegation on this one was really interesting. Different than any other variegation that I have in my collection because it's very, very pixely. It's almost like pointillism, which I know like from the tattoo world, but it's where you use like lots of little dots to form an image, and that's what this looks like. Like, the variegation, the green is just lots and lots and lots of tiny little dots, and then it also has a bit of sectoral on there, and then she has these really cute peachy emergence. So pretty. This is another newer one. This one is one of my #1 watches right now. Like, I cannot wait to see what this looks like when it gets bigger. I got this from Fontanimal Plant House on Palm Street. Cannot recommend them enough. They are amazing. And this is a Carla FP1 crossed with Ochranthum. And look at that. That one is going to be amazing. Again, like these like non-velvety green crossed with velvety like Carla and stuff. My number one favorite right now. But just the lobes, the shape of the leaf, veination, out of this world, man. Out of this world. All right, y'all, I'm running out of steam. So we have got 4 more that we're going to talk about really quickly. I don't know if I've ever shown this one before. This is my red spider blister variegated. Maybe I did. Maybe I did show it like in a bin tour or something. I don't even know if you can see the blister variegation on this one really. Well, and it's not like totally, I don't know. I don't know how to describe this. It's like a weird blister because it's like exploding all over the leaf. You can see that. It's kind of crazy looking. And I do have a prop of this available. It just doesn't have any roots yet, so I haven't listed it quite yet. This one will probably be on the higher end just because it is kind of uncommon looking. Super hot pink sinus. This oldest leaf. I imported this. This is a very, very vigorous grower. I just repotted it not too long ago. We have roots everywhere. But yeah, this is definitely one of my favorites. Super cool. This one I love because of the texture. This one is from Tazula. It is an SKG Gray crossed with a Black Widow Michelle. And that is her newest leaf. So she's gotten them pretty big. But she has, like, do you see that texture? It's very, what do they call it? Rhino skin? Elephant skin? It looks like stripy. Like, the texture looks like stripy. That petal, God, it's so crazy. It's so crazy. It's even crazier in person. But she's gorge. She's gorge. That veination, beautiful. Leaf shape, beautiful. It is very gray. So very green gray. Her previous leaves, please excuse, they are pretty, but they're covered in like a pest solution or something, hard water. I don't know. I haven't scrubbed them a ton to get them off. But yeah, I think this one is just going to be beautiful. Beautiful, and that texture is what I love. That's going to be great. A great trait to try to continue on to future generations because that is just unreal. This is another one that I don't think I've talked about before. It is from Brendan at Buzz Plants as well, and it's the Carla Round by GPH001 crossed with Buzz One, which is his Black Widow Michelle, I believe. And this was the leaf that I purchased it with. So very dark, veination's gorgeous. She's very thick leaf. But look at this emergent. This emergent is what I wanted to show you guys because it is crazy. It is so red, got those super pink Carla veins, that spidery angular veination. This plant is just beautiful. This is another one of my favorites because she is so dark, just like almost pure black. Really, really held on to that Carla Blackier. And then this, that red, like, geez Louise. Okay, last one. And again, one of my very favoriteest plants in my entire collection. It is my Anthurium. She's huge. She's large and charged. Shadiatum velvet clone. This is her oldest leaf, which is really big. Can you see the texture? Can we see the texture? Beautiful. That veination, amazing. Fave. This is the leaf that she gave me. It is yellowing a little bit because she did have root rot. She did have root rot, but I have one propagation of this that has a leaf, but no roots. And then I just took another cut that I put in my prop box. So once I make sure that that new cut has a growth point, because I want a backup of one of these, her chunk is still pretty big. So I may end up just letting both of those go. So if you're interested in one of the clones from this, just send me an email. You can hit the contact tab on our website, which is shadowindspace.com, which will be in the link in the description. And that'll go straight to me and I'll put you on the list. This one actually gets way bigger than this. Like, this is not the largest end of how big these leaves can get. But again, she is struggling with a little bit of, I've not had her for a super long time. She's struggling with a little bit of like acclimation, just root rot. I think where I messed up, because she was rooting really, really well. And then I was like, this was a dumb decision on my part. I was like, I need to try to get her into ambient because she's enormous and she's not going to fit in my tent forever. And she had an emergent coming out at that point. And, you know, in the past, it's been like a 50-50. Sometimes they don't care going from the high humidity to ambient. And sometimes they just like wilt over like cooked spinach, and that's what she did. And after that, she started rotting her roots. So I think it was just like that sudden drop in humidity. She threw a fit. But her, like I said, her chonk is like really good and really thick, and we got a lot of extra stem in there. So I could definitely, like, worst case scenario, I could just put her in sphagnum moss and she would regrow almost certainly. But I really don't want to lose these leaves, so I'm going to keep trying. I'm going to keep trying for now and see what happens. All right, guys, that is going to be it for this one. Thank you so much for stopping by and hanging out with me today. If you are interested in shopping some of the plants in my collection, like I mentioned earlier, my shop is Shadow and Space, which is shadowandspathe.com, which will be in the description. There'll be a link down there for you to click on if you're interested in browsing. I'm also over on PALMSTREET at Leaves with Les. I do lots of purges and stuff over there, and I will be doing lives in the future when I have some seedlings to offer as well. So if you're interested in that, give me a follow. But I appreciate y'all so much. And if you like this video and you want to see more content like this from me, please like, please subscribe. It means so much to me and it helps the channel so much. And I will see y'all in the next one. Bye.